Hi everybody, welcome. Oh goodness, I was so grateful and so thankful for the sun coming out and my daughter all on her lonesome fixing the two water pipes after I went and bought two 90-degree elbows. My allergy or OCD with all the water from the heavens and from the pipes, and remember the major drain blockage as well. Well, it was indeed getting out of hand. Now, I love the birdies I'm feeding, but I started to hate going out to feed them. Now it is all fixed. All we needed was another sunny day or two. But, the sun is gone once again, overcast and cold. Hopefully this will be the last chill of winter. Well, at least of this particular winter, because I usually do not mind the colder weather. But geez, the wind and the rain for months on end. Anyway, guys, let's get into today's video. Now, we are going to get to some very random shit today, and you're going to wonder, what is old Bookie up to? Well, I'll tell you what I'm up to. I'm trying to figure out what is really going on in the royal family, and in doing so, I came up with a load of random stuff which I just cannot seem to put together in a sensible, comprehensible manner. I just cannot. Now, I know Dan Wootton or whoever will say that they were the first. But in fact, I'm not that delusional that I do not remember them and their followers calling myself, and before me even Wally and Danger Zone and others, conspiracy theorists and delusional. Now, I'm sure a handful of you who had been here almost from the beginning will also remember that. Remember how we were told, or we were spoken of as delusional and conspiracy theorists, remember? Anyway, it was particularly after the Queen's death that I began serious reporting about the relationship between Charles and William. Okay? Now, at the time, and again, many of you will remember this, I was called a hater, and that I hated Charles, and that it was not true that there was no rift between Charles and William. Now, of course, all the mainstream media refugees are reporting on the rift between Charles and William. So, with that lesson learned, I am again going to stick my neck out here, because I found something which does not make sense at all when it comes to the narrative about the rift between Harry and William, between William and Charles, and maybe even between Charles and Harry. I don't know, something is off. But let's continue. The first thing I found, which seemed not to be 100% true with regards to William and Harry, is to be found in Diana's estate and what is left of it. When Diana died in August 1997, her estate was valued at approximately £21 million, or then $33 to $35 million at the time. Now, United Kingdom inheritance tax took about 8.5 million of that money. So the estate stood at about £12.9 million at the time. Now, her wealth consisted primarily of her £17 million divorce settlement from Charles. But guys, that was the cash we are talking about here. Diana also owned personal stock, shares, a few investments, although minor, obviously also other valuable personal items like some iconic dresses and an extensive jewelry collection. Now we also know, or was told, that with the exception of a few other specified items in her will, like the £50,000 cash she left Paul Burrell and some personal items she left her 17 godchildren, there was also £100,000 which Diana herself had set up in a discretionary fund for her sons, their future spouses, or charitable causes. And then comes the big lie. And this is not necessarily a lie perpetrated by Harry or Meghan alone. If it is a lie at all, then surely William must know about it. Now, in any event, this involves Diana's clothing and jewelry, her personal stuff. Now, I'm wise enough to know that not everything she wore belonged to her personally, talking about jewels. But I'm also relatively well informed as to what did belong to her. Now, according to what we know, her personal effects, her clothing and jewelry, was to be split between William and Harry. We also know that a lot of these personal effects were held and exhibited by Earl Spencer until Harry turned 30, at which point ownership officially transferred to William and Harry. Okay. So my question is, and this is going to pop up throughout this video, where is it? Where are Diana's physical possessions? We know Catherine is wearing Diana's engagement ring. We know Meghan is wearing Diana's watch. And I think until very, very recently, I saw Meghan wearing Diana's tennis bracelet. Although I do need to mention that I have not seen that tennis bracelet in a long time either. But she has definitely worn it since leaving Britain. So where is the rest? And guys, I'm not joking. I am so sick of the lies coming from the royals and the non-royals that I don't care anymore whether it's a big lie or a small lie. A lie is a lie. And these are people who are in leadership positions, okay, who are supposedly supposed to be better than you and me, whom we are supposed to look up to. Anyway, moving on. On your screen is a photograph of Meghan wearing Diana's yellow gold sapphire and diamond cuff bracelet. Now this bracelet alone is valued between £25,000 and £30,000. And my question today is, where is it? Now, we saw Meghan wearing this bracelet in 2018 in Australia. We saw her again in 2019 at the SmartWorks capsule launch. And before that, we also saw her wearing it in 2019 to the Cirque du Soleil. And then finally, the last time we saw her wearing it was to the NAACP Awards in 2022. So Meghan definitely had that bracelet with her in the United States. But we have not seen her wearing it since 2022. Now that is 4 years. And we all know Meghan loves to drape herself in jewelry. And we have not seen that bracelet in 4 years. Really? Where is it, Meghan? Now we know that Meghan has some earrings, supposedly, belonging to Diana. We do know that she has, or she had, Diana's tennis bracelet. We also know that she wore Diana's Asprey ring, you know, that blue ring. But we haven't seen her wearing it lately, at least not for the past 4 or 5 years. Where is it, Meghan? Where is it, Harry? Is it in a vault for your daughter, or has your wife sold it? Now, I'm not going to go into too many details for now because I am piecing it all together still. So for now, I'm going to just move on a tad, okay? Diana's estate, in its legal structure, no longer exists as a central trust because both William and Harry have reached and passed the distribution age, and both have received their lump sums. Now, according to Harry, in his Oprah interview, he has received his share and he used it to establish themselves in America after he was supposedly financially cut off by his father in 2020, which we also by now know was a lie, because Charles's financial statements actually showed that he still paid Harry in 2020. But again, never mind, regardless of allegedly having Diana's money, having received a severance amount from the sovereign grant arranged for by Charles at the time, and still being on Dad's payroll at least until the end of 2020, Harry and Meghan still acted like poor, abused refugees and had to beg Tyler Perry to rescue them, give them a free flight out of Canada, free accommodation, and free security. Just like the entitled beggar grifters Meghan always was, and Harry quickly turned into. Again, never mind. Harry allegedly used the 10 million cash from Diana's estate as a deposit on their Montecito mansion, which again, incidentally, I also do not fully believe. I cannot prove it to be true, but I do not believe ownership, true ownership, would have been so deeply hidden if Harry and Meghan bought the home themselves for themselves. I was also told that Meghan has an agreement with Charles that she will get the house if there is ever a divorce. Now, is that true? I don't know, but again, I digress. According to Harry, he used Diana's 10 million to purchase the house and settle them. Now, William's situation and circumstances also changed since. Okay? He became the Duke of Cornwall and gained control of the Duchy of Cornwall, so Pa stopped paying William his annual wage, as he obviously started earning an income from the duchy. So we also do not really know what became of Diana's inheritance on that side, as it was simply absorbed into his private wealth portfolio. As for Diana's private collection of jewelry, we've not seen Catherine in too many of Diana's jewelry or jewels. Obviously, she wears the engagement ring almost every day. Then we've seen her in the Collingwood pearl drop earrings. We've also seen her in the South Sea pearl dangle earrings, which is something which bugs me as well, but we'll get to that a bit later. And the Saudi sapphire and diamond earrings. And that's about it. I can't remember seeing her in any of Diana's other jewelry. I know Diana had a sort of a very nice choker thing that she wore, etc., etc. But anyway, moving on. I'm just saying it's possible that there are more of Diana's jewelry which Catherine may have worn. I just cannot think of any at the moment. According to mainstream media and Paul Burrell and a number of other people, Diana's physical possessions, her jewelry, her clothing, and her personal letters remain with both princes, with a number of high-profile pieces being loaned to museum exhibits from time to time. But guys, although I have very lightly touched or hinted at discrepancies, here comes the bigger one. The one, I must say, no one appears to want me to look into. And, you know, when it's like that and you don't get cooperation, one starts to wonder, why not? Now, remember the Diana Princess of Wales Memorial Fund, a public charitable foundation established only days after Diana's death in order to continue her humanitarian work. Remember that? Now, driven by shock and grief following Diana's death, the fund became one of the largest immediate fundraising efforts in modern history, raising over £138 million through public donations, 38 million through sales of Elton John's Candle in the Wind, and about £66 million through Earl Spencer's Diana, a celebration exhibition. Now, over a period of time, the fund awarded more than £112 million in grants to over 400 organizations worldwide. However, the original charity was closed at the end of December 2012. However, the money was all dispersed at that time, donated to different organizations, etc. But the legal entity and its intellectual property needed a permanent home. Well, you know, in order to protect Diana's name and ongoing residual legacies, because there are things that was left to the organization in wills, all kinds of stuff, okay? But there are, and there still are, right up until today, ongoing residual legacies. Anyway, so in March 2013, legal ownership of the fund's remaining assets and trademark was transferred to the Royal Foundation, which at the time was jointly run by William and Harry. Then, of course, came Meghan, and then came the split. Now what? William and Harry agreed to split any future residual income generated by the Diana Memorial Fund 50-50. Now, Prince William's share, I don't know how much or how little there is these days, but Prince William's share goes to the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales. And, listen to this, Harry's share was routed directly to Sentebale. Yep, Sentebale. But Harry have now resigned from Sentebale. And you see, I don't mind asking, and I indeed asked. They're not receiving a dime from Harry anymore, and have not received a dime from anything or anybody related to Harry since the last fateful polo match, which obviously caused all the caca. So again, let's just ask. And I did, and I was promptly told that, and I quote, small residual amounts continue to be split and distributed between William and Harry's respective charitable works. Okay, now which is Harry's charitable works? We can look at Invictus's books, the latest set, and Invictus certainly has not received any moolah from Harry. So which charity, Harry, does that money go to? Well, the only charity I can suggest is the bottomless foundation of Meghan's cupboard. That is until you tell me where it's going to. Of course, there's also the Diana Award. Now, both William and Harry still support the endeavour, although they have not appeared together during one of these events in, like forever. Okay, I can't even be bothered to go look it up. Neither, however, has anything to do with the running or management of the Diana Awards at all. Okay? So I have another few questions in the meantime until I've gone and dug a bit deeper. But maybe you have the answers. Remember that white top Meghan wore to Invictus? Remember, there's a picture on my screen. Now tell me, did Meghan go digging in Diana's clothes? Did she actually, seeing that all these physical possessions were split, did she actually wear Diana's top? Or did she willfully have something made to look exactly like Diana's? Now, with what I'm being told at the moment, I won't be surprised if Meghan actually took that top out of a box of Diana's clothing. Now, secondly, I would like to know who is selling off Diana's clothing little by little, apparently, allegedly, for charity. Okay, but the charity is never made public. Okay, it's just this vague entity. Okay. Now, Diana herself donated items to charities to be auctioned off. But until 2024, it was very obvious who these sellers were. And they were mostly old acquaintances, which I think is gross. I think any of Diana's friends selling her letters is just gross. And they can come for me if they want to. It is my opinion. Okay. Or obviously it was sold by collectors or family of deceased collectors who bought it at these charity auctions, etc., etc. But that's not what I'm talking about. Since 2024, the end, sort of the last bit of 2024 and 2025, a number of dresses, suits, and even Diana's ski wear, handbags, shoes, and smaller keepsakes, and that is where I'm stuck, okay? Because she did not donate smaller keepsakes like veil swatches and other commemorative items. However, these kind of things have now started coming into the market since beginning of 2025. So where is that coming from? Is it coming from Harry's share of Diana's personal effects? Or has William lost control over his mother's stuff? I mean, maybe he just forgotten, or he doesn't really care, he's too busy with other things, and these things are now, wherever it's being stored, picked off one by one and sold off, and nobody's noticing. I really honestly and truly do not know, but I looked into some of these things being sold online, and it's almost impossible to see who is actually selling it. Anyway, all I know is I honestly don't know, because I also, while doing this research, read that Catherine had even been altering some of Diana's jewelry pieces, like the South Sea pearl earrings, where Catherine had now gone and replaced the bigger pearls with a couple of smaller ones. Now, I'm just asking you, isn't that destroying history? I mean, if you do that, it is no longer Diana's earrings. It looks different. It has different pearls in it. I mean, it's really not Diana's earrings anymore, in my opinion. Now, guys, please note, I know you guys must be confused and you think, oh, what is Bookie on about? Now, I must just tell you that I am being careful here, okay? So you will have to read a bit between the lines, but all I can say is that William and Harry may be separated by a rift or whatever you want to call it, maybe, or likely, 70 to 80% caused by Meghan's entry and presence in the family, but there's more. There's much, much more behind the scenes. And I think this is bigger and much worse than we know. And all I can say is that I know for a fact that even though he knows exactly what is going on and what is behind this terrible so-called rift, Charles is still, or he is again, trying to push and blackmail William to meet with Harry. And I adore the man, but Neil Sean and other creators are indeed wrong when they say William is now in the driving seat and William is managing everything now. No, he's not. Charles is still very much the head of the household, and he is indeed still managing the entire monarchy business side, so to speak. And for as long as Charles is in the driving seat, we will never know the truth. Not about Harry and Meghan's children, and not about missing money, and not about missing jewelry and clothing and gifts, etc., etc. Charles will not allow the truth to come out. Okay, guys and girls, that is it from me for today. I shall be back very soon. So until then, please take good care of yourselves, stay vigilant, and please stay safe. Bye.